Now, she and Copeland will have to appear at a show cause hearing in a couple of weeks to determine if they should be held in contempt of court. Well, after all of this chaos surrounding the ex parte meeting, Copeland decided he didn't want Ms. Bumpus to represent him anymore.
Sir, Mr. Copeland, is it your desire to release your counsel at this point in time?
She's fired.
She's fired? Okay.
But according to Ms. Bumpus, she had already been fired before Copeland even testified. As you can see, this trial has been one surprise after the next. So now let's go back into Copeland's